It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Arkansas Tech head softball coach, Coach Jordan Jones. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college softball?
For me, growing up, softball, I don't know. Softball for me was an outlet from just chaos at home, and I really loved it. And whenever I started playing, I really felt like I just felt at home on that softball field. So it's funny because all growing up, people change their minds about what they want to do 100 times. Well, the whole time, I guess from probably eighth grade on, I knew I was like, I want to coach softball. Now, at first, I wanted to coach high school softball, but then I got into college and I was like, man, this is a lot of parents to deal with and a lot of outside things. And so it worked out where I fell in love with exercise science and kinesiology and learning about the body and how the body works and just really diving into that part. And then it worked out perfect for me to funnel right into college coaching. So I mean, I knew from pretty young. I fell in love hard at 10 years old with softball. So I feel really blessed that it's worked out where I've really been able to actually get in and stay in coaching too. So I have a feeling I'll be doing it for a really long time.
What was it like going to Captain Baptist to play?
So Central Baptist College it's in Conway, Arkansas, and it was great. I wasn't highly recruited. My family didn't really have a lot of money, and so growing up, it was just some teams would take me. I'd go with other parents and they'd take me around and I'd play with them. And then, I played just tournament ball around Arkansas. And then I was and this is kind of a really God moment, full circle story, but when I got to be, I guess that summer between your junior and senior year, I was going and looking at colleges, and I didn't really have any, like softball interests. I wasn't really out there. I went to one college softball camp, and it was at Arkansas Tech. And I remember taking reps at the catcher position, and the coach back there, I don't remember who it was. It was the assistant at that time. And he was like, man, if we had any money left, he said, we'd have you, we'd get you here. And so my original plan was, I think I might just walk on at Arkansas Tech. So it's really funny how this is all full circle now. So that was my plan. And then going into that summer, I played ball and I ended up meeting one of my best friends on this team that I'd just gotten on. And she was playing at Central Baptist College. And so that's how I got connected there. And it was just a family, small school. So everybody, knows who you are. We were pretty good. And that helped as well. But it was great. I loved the people there. I loved being in Conway. The coaches really poured in to us, but even more than that, it just felt like a family. And I enjoyed every minute of it. We got to win a lot of ball games for a while, and I took a lot of pride in being a CBC Mustang. As small as that may sound to some people, it was a really fun time in my life. So I definitely appreciate that experience.
What was that feeling like getting to put on that uniform for Central Baptist?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just a dream come true and an opportunity to keep doing what I love. I'm not necessarily the story of like I get there and then as a freshman I'm just an all-star. I mean, I had to work my butt off. I didn't have a lot of, training and coaching and lessons. I didn't really do lessons before then. So I had a lot of learning to do. I just loved it. I think I might have been the happiest like second string catcher probably on any team. Like I just loved being around the game, loved working my butt off, and so it was great. I felt I just felt very appreciative every time I got to go out on that field. I really did, and really appreciative of the friends I got to play with. And it was fun. I mean, like I say, it was fun. We had fun and we worked hard, and it grew into an experience where I did end up getting on the field, which I have a really funny kind of story there for the first time I ever got on the field too. But yeah, I mean, putting that jersey on every day, I always felt like, especially as a catcher, I felt like, every time I put that helmet on and walked onto the field, I always say I felt like kind of a gladiator walking into war. So I loved it.
What was that feeling like, as you said, the first time you got to step on the field at Central Baptist?
Yeah, so the first time I got to play was actually, so this is the best friend that I met, that I got connected with Central Baptist College. She was an All-American. If you look her up, she was really, really good. Hit 78 home runs in her career. Kristen Kirchner, she's great. Shout out to her. But she was second baseman, and she slid back into first base and had a hip pop out or something weird happened. And so I was playing for Coach Anderson, who's now at Southern Arkansas University, who I'm actually going to be coaching against this year, which is really funny. But he put me in at second base, and the very first pitch, I don't know if it was the first pitch, but the very first batter hits a pop-up right over my head, like between second base and right field. And I drop step to go, and I trip over the lip and fall. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And it was freezing cold. I probably was like blue in the face. I was just a little freshman and, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But yeah, that was my first experience. It was terrible. That was terrible. But we got through it, and it's just a funny memory now. So,
of course, during your time as a collegiate athlete, what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
Yeah, so accomplishments. I mean, team-wise, that freshman year, I got to be a part of a very, very successful team. We were fourth in the nation. I was, like I say, I was on the bench, but I will claim that team still. I was so proud to be behind those girls and with those girls that were on the field. They were amazing. They were really awesome to look up to, and just played the heck out of the game. So we were very successful there. Sophomore year, played about half the time, and then worked into a full-time starting role my junior and senior year. I think for me, one of the most clear memories is winning a conference championship. I guess it was sophomore and junior year. And then the other would be I would never claim to be the biggest, hitter in the lineup. If you just could let me play defense, I would have played defense the whole time, But my senior year, I finally got where I was really confident to play and try to take more of a leadership role. And I just think sometimes the game knows, and it gave back and ended up being a second team All-American, and and had a really good year. So I guess those are a couple.
What was that feeling like, getting to coach at your alma mater and become the head coach there?
Man, it was amazing. It was a God thing, if you ask me, because I was 24 years old when I got that call, and we had just come off. So I graduated, and then I assisted it behind Coach Drake for 2 years. And then I had just left to take a job at actually University of the Ozarks right up the road to be an assistant there. And I was there for probably 2.5 weeks, if that. I had just moved all my stuff. And then Coach Middleton gave me a call, and he was like, hey, he said, we'd like for you to come back and be our head softball coach. And I remember just not even believing that he had called me. There was every reason in the world to doubt that I could do that job, but it was amazing. I had a lot of pride. Like I say, I had a lot of pride in that program. I wanted to make the alumni proud. I really wanted to just be the best that I could be for them. And it's so funny. They say sometimes the best thing is just baptism by fire. And it was like, I just got thrown in, and I had to learn how to do everything all at once. And it was the best decision, I ever made, was to just take that leap. And it was pretty amazing year. We went from not making the conference tournament the year before that to winning 43 ball games, being runner up in the conference tournament, and winning an NCCAA national championship. And I look back at that year all the time, and I'm just like, that's, there was just this very special connection, and we grew up together that year, the players and myself, we all grew up together, and it was really special. So getting that call to be the coach there was very, very special to me.
As a head coach at Central Baptist, what was it like becoming the fastest coach to win 100 games?
Look, if you would have told me that anything that happened those first all 4 years there was going to happen, I would have told you were crazy. And why would it be me? Because there just was no reason on paper, and it was amazing. I remember Eric was the SID at Central Baptist, and he said, you only have 14 games left or something like that, and you'll be the fastest coach to win 100 games here. And there's, to me, Coach Anderson was amazing. He won a lot of ball games there, NAI national. No, he won an NCCAA national championship there as well, and just had a bunch of amazing players. So when he told me that was like that could happen, I was really just kind of I didn't really believe it at first. And so I went and did my own research, and and then COVID hit, I think. So it was the year after. I had to wait a half a year to get there, or a whole other year to get the opportunity to do that. And I remember that 100th win, we were supposed to beat this team that we were playing pretty good, and we barely beat them. And I remember not even being able to enjoy it, honestly, when it happened, because I was so upset that we played like that. Yeah, I mean, it means a lot to me. I don't do it for those reasons and for people to tell me great job for those things. I just love it and do it for the girls, and want to make the girls want to do things that the girls can look back and be proud of. And so it's just awesome how it all worked out.
Of course, the first time you came back to Central Baptist as head coach, what was that like, getting to coach some of your teammates that you played against?
Man, it was a chemistry project. Coaching is a chemistry project. It's how do you get 20, I think that year it was 24 or 23 or 24 girls, college age females, to want the same thing and want something bigger than them and their personal successes. And, I didn't know it at the time, but I knew the first thing I had to do was somehow separate myself from them. And so the seniors that year were freshmen when I was a senior at CBC. So that whole senior class had played with me for a year. And I'm super grateful, I guess, for how I went about things. I worked really hard, so they could never say that I was, the person that ever, really slacked or anything like that. So I was really proud that I was really glad that I actually walked the walk too, if that makes sense. But I knew the first thing I had to do was separate. And I wanted them, I remember sitting down with them and just saying, I want you to know first and foremost that everything that I do is going to be to try to make you proud and this team proud. There's nothing that I will do for my own sake here, at all. The other thing we had to do was, they used to call me JJ. That was my name. My name's Jordan Jones. And so my nickname was JJ. And so they had to go from calling me JJ to coach. And that was not a pride thing. It was just kind of if we don't set that line, it's going to be really hard to respect each other. And so, it was an adjustment. But, those girls, they're a huge reason that we were as successful as we were. We had a really good group of freshmen that came in. Honestly, the hardest part was, it was probably three of those 5 seniors that had played some the year before. They ended up getting, having to play more of a supportive role. And so there was an adjustment period at the beginning of the year, with the freshmen that came in and some people that just, it just was better for the team. And I remember, having to sit down with a couple and, just explaining this is where we're at and this is how we've got to go about it. And when those seniors turned around and poured into those freshmen, it was the most special feeling. Everybody on the team was just moving in unison. So it was this really cool story of what selflessness will do for you, and what putting the bigger picture in front of the me picture will do for a team. I mean, it's a really special story. Those girls are a huge reason that we were able to be that successful that year. So I appreciate them so much for, they could have made it very, very difficult for me if they wanted to. And they did a great job. Like I say, we grew up together that year. So
what was that feeling, and how was that transition from going from your alma mater to coaching at your alma mater to leaving there to go to Mid-American?
America. I mean, it was definitely a transition. I'd spent 10 years in Conway, and, for me, I love CBC. I love the people. But I think I knew, I had spent most of my young adult life there, and it was just time for a little bit of a change. And, so I looked around, and I ended up at Mid-America in right outside of Kansas City, Olathe, Kansas. And the transition was not seamless at first. I will say that. I had to get used to the cold, definitely colder up there. And I had to get used to working my own field, which I actually liked that. It was kind of stress relieving and therapeutic to be out on that field working. And then, I had to learn how to reach a whole new group of ladies that, that I didn't recruit, that were way more, I guess, a way broader group, from our team in Arkansas. It was Arkansas, Texas, a few Oklahoma girls, pretty localized, and Mid-America, we had 7 from California. We had a Colorado. We had, I think like a New Mexico, some Texas, some Kansas. So we had a broad range of personalities, and, I had to figure out a new way to reach them. And I grew a lot for sure that year. I love those girls, man. They any group that goes through a coaching change, it takes a lot out of them to learn a new style, to try to buy into a new leader, and to be vulnerable enough to trust that person, and the way that I coach is it's very people based. It's very relationship based, very buy-in, and it's we work hard. And so there was there was an adjustment period, but it was great. The people at Mid-America, I just truly can't say enough about. Like, our AD there was amazing. I know that they are going really awesome places right now. Like, that whole athletic department is going places. And so I'm super excited for, where they're going. And I was so grateful for the opportunity to go there and get in Kansas. And I loved the area too. And I was a Chiefs fan before I went. So it worked out being right there in Kansas City.
So what were some of your accomplishments as a head coach there?
So it was short-lived, and it's not because I wanted it to be or I had planned it to be. I had planned to be there for at least 4 years and see what we could, build, but in that 1 year, we were able to, I think we had 2 first team all conference players, 2 or 3 second team. I think we had a freshman of the year, so a lot of really, really great athletes. And then, we were able to get them back into the conference tournament as well. We had a really awesome start that year too. I think we were like first half of the year, 22-5 or something like that. I mean, we started out really hot. And then, unlucky things happen. And our left fielder, who was a previous All-American, tore her ACL again. And that was a lot of our, RBIs. And so we ended up finishing about middle of the pack of the conference. But, during that time, we were receiving votes at the national level, which means we were probably top 30 at that point, which was a really big accomplishment for, that program. I think it had been a minute since, there was that kind of recognition. So I was excited about the future there. I think we had things going in the direction we wanted it to. And I hated leaving them, and I told them in our meeting that, I wouldn't have left there if it wasn't for somewhere that I could see myself for 10 plus years. And so now I'm here at Tech. But I'm grateful for that opportunity for sure.
Of course, as a college coach, what has it been like, obviously transitioning from going from state to state and traveling to go to different programs to coach at?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of exciting, I guess, in a way. It's a new challenge, state to state. For me, it's really, I went to Kansas and then I came back to Arkansas. So I haven't been all over the country like some coaches, but it's been exciting, getting to learn new things about yourself, figure out how to deal with different issues and reach different kinds of people, So yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind last, I guess, 2 years, but it's been great.
What has it been like, obviously, becoming the new head coach for Arkansas Tech after, obviously, as you said, you were recruited there as a player?
Well, I wouldn't say I was recruited here. I was going to walk on, so I wouldn't hype myself up that much, but it's been amazing. I mean, this program has been very successful the last 4 years. They've won the last 4 conference tournaments here gone to regionals. They've had All-Americans. It's a very successful program, and it can be intimidating. I'll say that to think about, but also I'm just super, super excited to be here and hope, just like everywhere else I've been, the goal has been to compete at a national level. So the goal here is to compete at a national level. If we're going to do something, let's do it. Let's do it to the best of our ability. And Tech taking that chance on me and bringing me in here to take over this program, it was another one of those things where I was just like, super grateful and appreciative. I couldn't honestly believe it. I didn't believe it was going to happen until I actually got the phone call that like, hey, this is it. Like, we want you, kind of a thing. And so I'm truly appreciative that they, passed this program on to me, especially as successful as it's been. I can't say enough about the foundation that's already been set here by the past coaches. They were amazing. And the girls have really, this group of girls here have really just latched on. They've bought in. They're all in. They're just gung-ho. And the leadership I think we've got 7 seniors that are just, they're just bought in, and they could have chosen to push back. They could have chosen to, know everything already because they won. They've already won, but they've been so coachable. They've been amazing young ladies. They've been amazing leaders, and I can't wait to see where it goes from here. So I'm just super excited. I'm ready for January. I'm ready to get going.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you started to build for Arkansas Tech?
Yeah. So I talked a little bit about it, just now, but to me, culture goes hand in hand with winning. There are ways to win without culture. Like there are different ways, obviously, to get things done, but I don't think that things last. I don't know how much longevity there is if you don't have a good culture going. For me, it's people based, it's relationship based. It's I'm going to be really honest with the girls. We sit down, we have individual meetings. I'll always be as honest as I can be with them. But culture wise, what we really tried to implement here was just the togetherness aspect. We have our motto this year is brick by brick, and how we use that is we could look every day at the big overall wall of, winning a regional, which is the goal. We could look at that every day, but if we look at just that big wall in front of us, sometimes it's really hard to get done what we need to get done that day. Or it's really it can be hard to grasp, like that's a big task. But if we look at every single day, just day by day, and we lay the best brick that we can lay with every session that we do, whether it's a practice, whether it's hitting, whether it's weights, speed and agility, whatever it is that we're doing, it's us trying to embrace that mentality of, okay, I'm focused on what we're doing today, just this one session at a time. And I fully believe that if we do that, for a full year, and we really buy into that brick by brick mentality, then when we get to May, we're going to be able to look up and be proud of what we've built. We want to make sure we're not laying faulty bricks. We're not coming out here just getting through practice or just getting through weights. We're laying the most solid brick we can lay. And then we have our core values that go with that. We talk about passion, relentlessness, intentional, blue collar work ethic, and togetherness. And that's our cornerstone. I can have 20 of the best athletes in the world, but if they all hate each other, they don't know how to fail forward, they don't trust each other, they don't respect each other, then you can almost guarantee you won't reach your potential. So they've really bought in, and it's been awesome to see them get after it and embrace it and do it together. I mean, it's a really special group of girls. So
what is that feeling going to feel like, obviously, as a head coach, to take that field for the first time at Arkansas Tech?
I guess I can let you know when we get there. I think February will be really special. It'll be some nerves, but I don't know. I think out of everything, it'll just be a lot of appreciation. When I walk out on that field for the first time, I think it'll be more just grateful to be leading something as big and special as this group of girls. So I'm excited. Like I say, I'm ready to get to January, get to February. But I got to focus day by day, brick by brick. I got to kind of reset that every time I get ahead of myself. So
who are some of the teams that you face in your conference?
In our conference, we've got SAU, so Southern Arkansas University, they've been a powerhouse as well. We've got Harding in state, UAM in state, Oklahoma Baptist. We play a lot of Oklahoma schools, Southeastern. There's a lot of really high quality teams. So I'm excited to get after it. It's going to be a dogfight for our whole conference. So,
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes, and what does the official visit look like at Arkansas Tech?
yeah, so the recruitment process is so broad now because there's different avenues. They have showcase tournaments, we have camps, people email us, word of mouth. Sometimes it's a coach that calls me and is like, hey, I just saw this kid and I don't have room for them, but they're amazing. There's different avenues for sure to get recruited. I know for me, I literally have gotten athletes in all of those ways. So I do like to know the kind of person that I'm recruiting, though. So I think the ones that I'm most confident in are the ones that I've seen at a showcase tournament. I've seen them play live, and then they come to a camp. I can figure out, what kind of person, what kind of worker they are at a camp here. Do they fit, and then get to really just actually communicate with them and talk with them and see them and uncomfortable. Because when we're running the camps, we can put them through whatever we want to put them through. So I can get them uncomfortable and I can throw them around in different things and create chaos and see how they react to those things. So yeah, the recruitment process is really hard to just narrow down, I guess. There's no really specific way. There's many different ways to get it done. I always say if you're good enough, you're good enough. And hopefully you'll find us or we'll find you. So and then the official visit days. So we do those once our full class is committed. That 23 class, like this year, was committed, and we normally do like a tailgate. We do a picture session. We do a tailgate kind of hang out before our football game on a Saturday and make sure that they all get to meet the team and everything. This year we got to include the newcomers in on our ring ceremony for the girls because they had won the championship last year, conference championship. So they got to come to their ring ceremony as well and really see what that looks like of, okay, this is what a championship team looks like. This is what we're trying to work for, as we come in as well. So that was really special.
What is that feeling like as a head coach, getting to see them put on that jersey for the first time at Arkansas Tech?
It's great. I mean, I get to see them really live out their dream that they had since they were, little kids. So I love seeing it. I love getting to see, the work that they put in really pay off. I always say the game knows, and, the ones that really work hard, they end up getting things back in return on the field. And so it's awesome. I love to watch them grow, even from like the first time they put that jersey on to the last time is really special. Getting to see them grow as just ladies, and they get more confident and they mature, and and they gain all these relationships and go through, softball. We spend a lot of time together and go through a lot together, and so you get to see them go through a lot of hardships and ups and downs, and it's a special thing to be a part of, and I try not to take it for granted, for sure.
What are some of your future plans at Arkansas Tech building the program?
Future plans. So I have big goals. We're making some facility updates. We're painting, actually. We're in the middle of some painting stuff right now. We're getting all new turf field next year. We're trying to make this as a place where when people come, they can be proud, of what they're playing, who they're playing for, and be proud of who they are in the program. So we also plan to work our butts off as coaches. I'm blessed with a great coaching staff. We've got Coach Addie Jensen, who's running our pitchers, and then we got Coach Scott Gongola right now, who's our volunteer assistant, and he works his butt off as well. And they know the goal, or my big time goal would be to get this program to a World Series in 4 to 5 years. And if you don't shoot for the stars, you won't make it very far. So recruiting comes into play there, us making sure that we're putting on we're putting things together here to make some of these big time athletes want to be a part of what we're doing, and then making sure that we're doing things the right way. I want the young ladies that leave this program to be proud, of what they've done, be proud of how they did it too, and to know that, they'll always have a family here. So the plans are very big going into the future. I'm very excited about it.
What advice would you give those high school athletes that are looking to play college softball?
And work hard. I think the biggest thing for me too is you get to play softball. You don't have to play softball. And it's hard these days. The way that the game has grown is great. Like there's so many opportunities, but it's also hard. They're a lot of times specializing in softball, they're 10th or 11th grade, and then they're playing tournament ball all year. And there's just a lot of pressure put on them from a young age. So it's easy for them to fall out of love with the game. And, I just, like I say, I love softball. I love what we get to do. I love competing, period. Like put a card game in front of me and let's go, But I just appreciate the heck out of it. So I need young ladies that are going to get here and still love what they're doing, or those hard things that we put them through and the hard things that we go through together, they're just not going to be worth it. So, my words of wisdom for them are just to check yourself. Like, do you still appreciate what you're doing? Like, can you still be grounded in why you're doing it? And it's so much bigger than softball. So, but there's kind of both ways. You got to find that happy balance of, okay, I want to stay in love with the game, but also you got to work your butt off if you truly want to compete at a high level. There's that balance it's really hard to find sometimes.
What advice would you give college coaches looking to get started in coaching in college?
Yeah. Advice for them would be network, network and sometimes volunteer. You just kind of have to find a way in to start, and the first few years are going to be tough because there's not a lot of big money assistant positions, and there's not a lot of big money, honestly, in coaching, period. So, if you really want to get into coaching college, there's going to be kind of a pay your dues time where you have to work really, really hard for a very little pay. But once you get in and once you really start learning and soaking in everything that you can soak in, it pays off. And like I say, I think if you're doing things for the right reasons and the right ways, then it kind of comes full circle, But yeah, my advice there would be to just kind of find your way in. That's the hardest part, is getting in the first time if there's no connection there.
What advice would you give those future head coaches that are looking to start building their own program?
My advice, future head coaches, would be people first. And I'm really big on, trying to be the kind of person and the kind of competitor that I want them to be first. Not telling them to learn how to fail forward if I can't figure out how to do that, but I don't know, just keep your feet grounded. It's so easy to get caught up in wins and losses. And I've only been coaching for 6 years as a head coach now, but in those 6 years, especially coming out that first year and having a decent year, and winning that early, it's easy to get really caught up in win. Like I will say, I think that second year I was so caught up in, okay, if we don't win, 40 ball games again, it's not a successful year. And I really lost kind of my footing on what worked, on loving the girls, on working hard, no matter if we're winning or very underdog mentality is how I like to think about things, and I really lost kind of that. Like I say, I wasn't grounded the second year. I was more focused on, we've got to win. I don't want to just have one successful year. And then if we don't win again, everybody's going to say it's a fluke kind of a thing. And I think I got really caught up in that. And in doing so, it was a decent year. It was a success. It was a good year, but it was not a great year winning wise. And I think it's because I was so focused on win, X's and O's, win. And I lost sight of the people. So, definitely that'd be a big thing for me. I still have to check myself, every day and make sure that I'm doing things for the right reasons. And I truly believe that when you do that, the rest will play itself out.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you on social media along with the Arkansas Tech softball program at?
So Arkansas Tech is ATU softball on Twitter, Instagram. We have a TikTok. It's actually quite funny. The girls run it and they do a great job. So ATU softballs, you can find on all those. And then my Twitter handle, I think, is at JTJones00. So they can, find me there.
Thank you again, Coach Jordan Jones, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at Arkansas Tech as the head softball coach.
Thank you so much for having me, Brandon.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Jordan Jones, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thanks.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.